Hello and welcome to Hey, I Loved That Movie, the podcast where we rewatch the films we loved when we were younger to see if they still hold up. I'm Dan,
I'm Michael.
And I'm Helena.
and for this episode we watched Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Bang, bang. Fuck this
divorce.
house.
Divorce counselling.
It's marriage counselling.
Yeah, they're in
Yeah.
marriage counselling and also they're in this movie.
Was this... So, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, for anyone that doesn't know, is Brangelina, as they're famously known, playing a couple of assassins. In both sense of the word, they are two people, and they are both assassins. And they're both married.
It's a great concept for a comedy action film. Like I love the setup for this. Helena, you suggested this movie. What's your nostalgia for this? Because I'm sure I've seen it once.
I love this film. I used to watch this a lot, and I was weirdly into it. I remember it used to be on Film 4 all the time.
Yeah.
It's got Film 4 vibes.
Yeah,
It really
this
does.
is full.
But I'm pretty sure we even rented it from Blockbuster, maybe?
Wow, an actual named store.
Well, yeah, we were fancy,
That
and
is
we
a
only had a
rarity.
Blockbuster in Ramsgate, so that's the one we went to. Yeah, no, I love this film. I loved everything about this film. I loved the sort of sex scene that's not. There's no this was raunchier than I expected it to be, but then not really.
It's also incredibly family friendly.
Well, there's the dominatrix bit. That I totally forgot. And actually forgot I hadn't seen this film in
forgot about that as well.
I haven't seen this film in 10 years at least. Maybe more. God, am I old?
It did come out in 2008, so
I don't think I've seen it in the 20. Maybe I don't think I've seen it since I was out of high school.
So this is your wanted, is what I'm like.
This is a lot of people's want. I feel like you watched either Wanted or Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, they came out the
watched
same
both.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, similar vibe. And-
Weird 2000s movie.
I think
And
I
both
liked
had
it because
Angelina
it was
Jolie.
Angelina Jolie being really kick-ass, and we'll
Yeah.
come back to this in a bit later, but it didn't have that for me this time
No.
as much. But yeah, loved this film when I was a kid, and really, brushed over the fact that they were assassins and just thought it was really, really cool. Had no idea that Vince Vaughn was in this film.
Yeah, I forgot about that too.
Yeah.
And what about you,
Same.
Mikey? Did you watch it a lot, or were you just a wanted kid?
I feel like I did. I feel like I watched this film when I was younger. I have no idea if I did or not because I didn't remember any of it. It felt like I remembered remembering it. It was weird.
There's one scene in this film that I always remembered from being a kid. Obviously, it's so the premise is they're both assassins, but they work for different companies, and they both married each other as covers.
Yeah.
And don't
Yeah, neither of them
know the other one's an assassin. Because communication, not this relationship's strong point.
No, not at all.
Anyway, they get found out. Well, they find out, they work it out because they both get sent to the same job.
Yes, they both get sent to kill an individual that they are told is incredibly important and a dangerous terrorist.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they both, because of both each other being there, they both fuck it up.
Yeah.
And then, kind of slowly work it out that it was each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They work it out through. I mean, the writing is fairly weak at points. This is an action movie.
I mean, Angelina works it out because he shakes his leg a certain way after he does a piss.
Mhm. And he works out because her laptop is actually the billing address is the address that she works at, her actual assassin company,
Yeah.
So he just
which
goes
just
there.
seems like not a thing that would happen.
No. I feel like assassins would be a lot more careful.
They'd probably have a PO box.
Yeah. Or
something.
not put addresses on things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe have untraceable laptops that they're taking on missions.
Yeah, no, that's the weird part.
Because it really doesn't take Brad Pitt's lesbian detective computer girl very long to find out all this information.
No, not at all. It's a weird film.
It's weird, but at its heart, it's just a fun
It's so
action
silly.
comedy.
It is.
But
It's
the
really
scene that's
stupid.
really stuck in my head is that obviously they try and kill each other being both assassins and sort of being told that the only way they can get out is they can like redeem themselves and be safe is to kill the other one.
Yeah.
So they destroy their house, and then, but that process, they're actually falling for each other, and they have. What I remember is them like obviously making out after shooting at each other a lot, which I thought was hilarious as a kid. But then the bit that's really etched into my mind that I could remember like shot for shot is like the next day when they're like pouring each other stuff out of the fridge, like they're trying to find like non-broken things, and they have like they're drinking out of 2 broken glasses and like working on broken glass, and it just infuriated me as a child. I was like, that's not safe. Like, didn't mind the guns, didn't mind anything else in this film. I'm like, why are they walking on glass with bare feet?
Gunfight.
You can't do that.
Yeah, this film. So the way the film is kind of the first part of it. I'm going to be honest. I kind of didn't really pay attention to. I just kind of switched off and wasn't really paying attention because this film is 2 hours long.
Yeah, I
2
don't
hours,
know how,
yeah.
it's like 1 hour 56. It's
Didn't need to be.
really long for a film that came out when it came out.
Yeah. The first half I was kind of like I wasn't really paying attention. It was when they're like they don't know that the other one's the assassin, but they're like trying to kill each other kind of thing.
Yeah, so they at the start they are just both they're sort of getting suspicious, but there's like they both go off to do separate jobs and then have to be back in time to go to the Colemans, and it's like they slip up so many times and there's so many like oops, nearly got caught moments that you're like, how did they keep this up for 5 or 6 years? Like it seems a bit like, you know, they're always on the verge of catching each other in the act. Like Angelina Jolie goes, and we mentioned the dominatrix bit. That's my first problem with this film, I think, that rubbed me up the wrong way, is that it tries to be like, rather than treating them as equal, it tries to make a show like Angelina Jolie being like a like hard, like almost psychopathic, like doesn't care until she does care for him.
Yeah.
And then like she's a sexy assassin, like, and all the assassins in her company in that bit are women, and it's like they're trying too hard to be like women can be assassins too, rather than just them being equals.
Yeah, and the women actually have like their base of operations is actually really nicely designed and really fancy, whereas Brad Pitt's one is just like some rundown like engineering place that Vince Vaughn's at.
There's also that like weird like passive misogyny throughout the film.
Yeah.
Where like because it's almost like they wanted her to be this really hard-edged female assassin. She's really cool, and she comes across as like super cold and pretty emotionless, and even like the characters comment on it, and it just kind of like it felt really like it was trying to do really cool female assassin like action hero, but also have the funny man make comment kind of it tried to do both.
And it also tries to be like strong female assassin in a dominatrix outfit, and oops, she forgot to take off her sexy boots and her fishnet stockings to go to the party at the neighbour's house.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on. And like her handbag turns into like cables and lets her jump out of a building.
Zip wire, yeah.
Like that's the thing that I think that's better about the second half, is that they get rid of like gadgets and it's just guns.
Yeah.
Guns
it's
and
just
bombs.
them
But
trying
the
to
first
kill each
half
other,
is like
right?
weird, like they have all the built-in stuff in their home, which I think as a kid I absolutely loved. As an adult, I'm like, that is wildly not
dangerous.
useful.
Yeah, considering Brad Pitt's is like in a very obvious like undershed bunker, so obvious that Angelina finds it incredibly quickly, and hers is in some sort of
Hers in the
magic
oven, which is the other kind of yeah, like he gets an entire armory under the shed.
Yeah.
And she has her oven, and like the surprise is like, oh, she actually never did the cooking. She got the interns to do it. She was always out on jobs. And it's, yeah.
That in itself was kind of a weird thing for them to bring up, because it meant that Brad, can't remember either of their names, doesn't matter. We don't do that.
John and Jane.
John and Jane Smith.
Nope.
Yeah, but it's Brad and Angelina,
Yeah.
and also Vince Vaughn's there.
And Vince Vaughn's there for some reason. What was weird about the whole cooking bit? Because after they find out that they're both assassins, he's like, and who did the cooking? And she doesn't say any. She says that like the interns did it. He was assuming that she was working like a really stressful full-time job, because her cover was she's a
An IT tech.
an IT
right?
tech for like huge businesses.
So she was always on call, so she could always like disappear.
Yeah. Like she wasn't just like an IT tech, she was the IT tech for the stock market, is essentially how he described it. She did that full time and did all of the cooking and all of the housework and
And the interior design,
And-
don't forget.
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
the bit where like he doesn't care about the curtains and she does.
yeah,
Because she's, a woman.
yeah. And it gets to that point where it's like, how did he not notice? Is kind of what I was thinking of that when he mentioned that. I was like, how did you not realize that maybe she isn't doing this? Maybe she does have the second thing going on.
Like they're both so kind of wrapped up in their jobs, because the thing that I did like about this is how much they don't care about each other, like really, until they are actually on the same page and knowing they're assassins. Like
Yeah.
the whole bit where they have like the car chase scene where they're shooting at each other, like at the other people chasing them, and
Yeah.
during that they're like talking to each other like, oh, I did this and I did, like, that was, I really
Yeah,
liked
the
from,
second
like,
half
that
of the
sort
movie
bit.
is really good, and that really held up for me. Like I really enjoyed that. The car chase is fantastic,
It's really good.
and like that's the bit where I'm like, they treat Angelina Jolie. They do like, it's not trying too hard. It's just letting her be cool and be
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
an awesome assassin, and like, she does this, like, basically Brad Pitt's hesitating too much, so she's like, well, fuck this, spins
Yeah.
the car around and shoots out the tires and causes them to explode in like a blaze of glory, and Brad Pitt
Exactly.
sat there like, well, this is emasculating.
I mean, it's
like, well,
easier to
yeah.
do that than spin bullets, so
Yeah,
like you can swerve a car a lot easier.
yeah, that I really like that Angelina Jolie that we get to see, and when she's like, they let her crack, because I think that the chemistry between them is great. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're falling in
yeah.
love in real life at this point, but I think it's that makes the earlier scene so weird, is that she's having to put on this like extra wooden, blank, cold persona, and it just doesn't ring true. So it comes across more as like not bad acting, but like bad dialogue, and it just doesn't. It's not as believable. But when they click,
Yeah.
it's so good and it's so believable because it feels so genuine.
Yeah. I mean, there's also bad dialogue. Like, let's not. There's also this film is
Happy endings are just stories that haven't finished yet.
this film is not well written. The acting's really good in this, but the actual writing is bad. It's very much like we made an action film and then tried to write a rom-com in the middle.
Yeah.
So the dinner scene, basically, this scene that I've totally forgotten about, which I thought was quite funny, is when Brad Pitt comes home for dinner after finding out that she's an assassin, and she's kind of found out that he is, and he's found out that she is, but they haven't addressed it yet.
Yeah, that really awkward slow dinner scene, like,
Yeah, slow dinner scene where he's trying to, like, he sees, like, she brings him a martini, and it just pans over to like a bottle of bleach in the corner.
Yeah.
So he like throws it in the plant, and then they're like trying to like hide weapons on themselves and stuff. I really enjoyed that scene. It was so like tense but stupid. Like, this whole film is so silly
Yeah.
that once I got on board with like, no, they're not taking themselves seriously,
yeah, exactly.
I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I did like the intercut of the marriage counselor.
Mm.
That was great. Solid writing because it got like the little bits right. Like when like him asking Brad Pitt about the sex life but not asking Angelina, it got that like the counselor, although you never see him, came across as a bit of a misogynist, and that was quite funny. Was like watching, because the best shot in the entire film, the best reaction, best bit of acting in this entire film, he's talking to Angelina on her own. It's like right at the beginning of the film, and it's great. And she's talking about like, oh, what do you call it? What do you call it when you just like you're just drifting apart and you don't want to be around someone and you kind of hate them? And he says marriage.
Marriage.
As,
Yeah,
like,
I
a
was like,
dumb
who gave this
comment.
person a job?
But also like her reaction, if you can watch just that scene, her reaction to that was like, I'm gonna hit him. There's such a perfect, the best bit of acting I've ever seen, because it was such a perfect, I'm gonna smack him kind of face. And it was amazing. And that's like, I think that's my favorite part of the entire film, is just her being like, oh.
Yeah, like what this film gets right, it really gets right, but then what it gets
Yeah.
wrong is very like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of 2000s cringe
Yeah.
in this film. Like the after the dinner scene, the house fight wrecking scene, they she goes to dinner, and then Brad gets there and like pours her the champagne, and then they have like a weird sexy dance.
That's after.
Yeah.
whilst kind of trying to kill each other.
That's after she thinks she's killed him in the elevator, isn't it? Like,
Yeah. The elevator scene was quite good.
yeah. There's just so many tense, like, kind of. Oh, they're trying to kill each other.
Yeah, because they're trying to kill each other, but she's second guessing herself over and over and over and being like, why? But it's more like she doesn't get quite why she doesn't want to kill him.
Yeah. I do like during the elevator scene. So he's on an elevator and she's got it like rigged up to explode and she's gonna kill him. And she's talking to him and she says like, "I'm gonna press a button." He's like, "I don't think you can." So she starts counting down, and then when she gets to 0, one of her like assistants presses the button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that so much.
And that she's got proper like surprise Pikachu face.
Yeah. So well, you got to
and the
0.
assistant's like, "You said goodbye."
Yeah. Oh, that was so good.
I also like the bit where he's like, "Oh yeah, I've de-rigged the 2 blah, 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 bombs on the side," and she's like, "What about the one on the top?"
Yeah.
And he just sort of hesitates, like, "Yeah, that one."
Yeah.
too." Obviously, he's not. I can't remember how he gets out of it. Is he just like?
he's in a different elevator.
Yeah, he's
Different
in another
elevator,
one,
yeah.
and he's like rigged up the CCTV,
Webcam,
so
yeah.
it's showing the wrong one. Yeah.
But you can tell that because there's a glowing light box. There's a glowing box on top of it shows you on top of the elevator. There's a box with a flashing light, and that's how you know he's done some gadget stuff.
Exactly.
Because I don't think that's how that works. I love that in films when they're like, you know that
They've got to show the audience that something's happening.
Yeah.
Happening. Oh, like right at the end, the belt that's got a tracker in it.
yeah,
Like a tracker would just be like maybe have one LED.
yeah, covered in LED.
And instead it's like
Oh,
this
this was-
full-on
Doesn't
little
it have like a little like
microcomputer.
radar thing in it as well?
Yeah,
Like-
Yeah.
it's like
This is-
pulsing, and there's so many different
Early
lights, and there's so much like
2000s.
data streaming on it. Oh, it's brilliant. It's like that's just to get so the old people at the back
Yeah.
know that's a thingamajig.
I just love that about any action, any spy movie when they're like, "We're doing a thing." Anyway, I attach this box to the wall, and there's a flashing light, and that's how you know we're doing a thing.
Oh gosh, yeah, that sort of IT crowd, the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
box.
Especially when they put a box on a wall and it just sticks. Like, I get that there's a machine. I guess it's like electromagnetic and it can interact with any machine within 1,000 miles. By the way they use it, but it's when they just like. It didn't happen in this film, but it happened in others. They just put something against the wall and it stays connected to the wall.
Yeah, it just sticks.
I hate that. That's like the one bit I'm like, I don't believe that because I've put things up.
Yeah, you want the scene with first they've got to measure it, then
Yeah.
they get the drill, then they get the right the wall plug, and they check they've got the right size,
Yeah.
then they get the matching screw,
I
and then they make sure that matches the thing on the back where they've got the little hold,
Yeah. Oh,
and then they hang it up.
I want them with their head pressed against the wall, trying desperately to
Spirit level.
just to see between the thing and to get it hooked on the nail. But they've got their face like really pressed against the wall.
And I think they've got it, and then it drops it, and they're like, "Oh shit!"
It's going, oops,
They have to catch it
ah.
because it's an explosive. Fuck.
Oh, man, that's what I want to see. I want to see that would be such a good comedy. It's just a agent struggling with their gadgets, like standard game.
Isn't that Johnny English?
Yeah, I feel like that's Johnny English, but
That
I
does
sort
Johnny
of hate
English.
Johnny English.
No, because
Yeah,
Johnny English
yeah.
knows his gadgets. Well, he can't
No, he
use
doesn't.
them, but he does. It's not like
He mixes up his rings. Remember?
there's no but the actual like functioning of them is
we
fine.
should watch Johnny English.
Yeah.
I
We
want-
shouldn't
I
watch
wanna
Johnny
talk- I-
English.
I wanna-
I
I
can't
wanna-
do
I
Johnny
want to make-
English.
I want you to watch Johnny
No.
English.
It's on the list. We'll do a Patreon thing, and it'll just be you
I'm
can
not
vote
doing
for
it.
Johnny English, or Johnny English.
I'm not doing Johnny English. But yeah, this does fall into like Mr. and Mrs. Smith 100% falls into every like action spy movie trope.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
It's
Yeah.
riddled, and it's trying to as well because it's very much leans into the comedy side of it.
Yeah, because we find out like later in the film, surprising big twist, the person that they're hunting down, the person that they've been like hunting down for ages, isn't an enemy, isn't a bad guy. He's an intern.
Yeah, he's a brand new this little baby assassin.
Yeah.
And still got his training wheels.
Because each of the companies both figured out that they were married before they did.
Yeah,
and
embarrassingly,
Yeah.
only took them 5 to 6 years to
Yeah.
notice.
So then-
when they live together,
Yeah.
they literally go to like considering I'd at least expected Angelina Jolie's company to have picked up on it,
Yeah.
because isn't her company like kind of knows everything?
Yeah.
And seems to be like and they seem like aware of loads of different jobs as well that have happened, and it's like, well, even if they hadn't been able to put the dots together, there must be moles and leaks and like, yeah, it just seems
Yeah.
yeah.
It's such a bizarre thing. But so
It was a great concept, and
Yeah,
it would
yeah.
be pretty boring if it was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, they were-
it's one of those things that like it kind of falls apart when you think about it. So please don't think about it.
Yeah.
Well, the whole idea of these, like, there being multiple, like, assassin conglomerate firms
Yeah.
that are, like, that have office spaces and, yeah, do that kind of, that exists. And it's these bunch of women answering to the father.
Yeah.
And they have weird HR rules about how if your spouse is an assassin, you have to kill them.
This film had a lot of world building of like not sci-fi, like action spy movie world building that it didn't really do anything with. Like there's a lot of world building in this that just kind of floats around.
Yeah, this idea, like, they're, like, who is Atlanta
Yeah.
and who is the father.
Yeah. I mean, the
These
father
two, like-
I recognised was voiced by Keith David. That was the only bit I recognised his
Yeah.
voice straight away now from like he's in so many things.
He is. But it's very close to like Wanted level
Yeah.
world building that you
Well,
just
like it could be a prequel to John Wick. Like
It could
that sort
be.
of universe.
it's set in the same universe as John Wick.
Yeah.
Fucking-
After this movie, those two companies, like what was left of them, formed the Continental.
Yeah.
Sorry, did we say this was 2008?
Mhm.
It's 2005?
Was it?
Oh, that makes
Yeah.
everything makes sense
I
now.
thought this was 2008 for some reason.
It's firmly mid-noughties.
Well, we got
Yeah.
that wrong. So all of
Oh.
our
Did-
tweets that say "How dare you," that was actually from 2005. Well, at least we know now.
And I just thought I'd mention that because the other day I made a glaring error in the podcast, and then I'm just waiting for that to come out.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I'm not going to say what it was, but I'm ready for the tweet.
I've never said anything that isn't an error, and I stand by all of it.
So one thing that holds up for me
Yeah.
is...
Oh yeah, the
This
podcast.
time-
Let's get back to that.
You guys remember we have a concept?
Yeah, no, we're not just chatting.
Angelina Jolie's hair is just amazing.
Oh,
in
it's
this.
incredible.
And it's because that was the age of when I started like getting into,
Yep.
I guess, hair and doing my own hair around that. Because I definitely watched this, like, I guess technically too young for like the dominatrix scene, but I was just like, oh, she's a the sex stuff went straight over my head.
Yeah, hopefully.
But her hair is just gorgeous. But having that like the long ponytail with the little bits hanging down, it's, to me, it's timeless. But I realised actually no, it's not timeless.
No.
It's just my favourite, and it is mid-noughties, like luscious locks, like hair extensions up the wazoo, and no, could have phrased that better. Long flowing hair,
Yeah.
but with little bits.
Whereas on the other hand, I personally think that Brad Pitt with just like almost a buzz cut, that's probably the worst hairstyle he's had. Like
Yeah, no, it doesn't really suit him
No.
considering he's.
Like I
rest of
get
his
that
face.
he might need it for that sort of job,
Yeah,
so it kind of
yeah.
makes sense in the movie. But yeah, like you expect him to have a little bit of spiky up there, like
I'd forgotten that he had such. I think that's why also for me I was like, oh, Angelina Jolie's hair's so lovely in this, but because in contrast, it's even lovelier.
yeah, because Brad
Because
Pitt has no
it's
hair.
so short that it does. It's not a buzz cut, but it does
Yeah.
just stand on end.
It looks like he's gone into the barbers and says, "Can I have a number 6 all over, please?" And that's it.
Yeah, there's no styling
No.
to it, which is weird actually, because I'm sure that was when it all really kicked off with the hair gel again, wasn't it? 2005.
Yeah, I guess they wanted him to look like a soldier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
They
yeah.
wanted, and then there's Vince. Can we talk about Vince Vaughn's
Vince Vaughn's
character?
in this.
Yeah, 'cause
Vince Vaughn's here as Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn
He's
is,
Vince
yeah.
Vaughn. He never
Is-
looks any different. He's just Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn's an assassin in this, right? That's his job.
yeah, he's an assassin too.
He,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
doesn't he run their assassin company, or he's like one?
I think they're partners.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
And then they've got the old lady at the front that does all their covers.
and as soon as my favorite thing about his character is as soon as it's found out that they're actually assassins together, and she wants to kill Brad Pitt Vince Vaughn shits himself. Vince Vaughn's like, we need to go.
Because he lives with
so
his mum in
scared.
this film for some reason.
Yeah.
As well, like-
Comedy.
Well, he's a sort of bitter divorcee, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
That's
like,
probably why. Do you think the exact same thing happened to him and his wife?
maybe. They probably said that at some point.
Just,
Again, more
it's weird that it's happened
world-building.
twice, but it's happened twice.
It's more world building that this film doesn't capitalize on. Not that it'd be interesting if they did.
No. Who from the 2005's comedy era would be Vince Vaughn's partner in this then?
What?
So if it was like a prequel where it was Vince Vaughn and his wife and the exact same
Oh,
thing happened,
right,
but from
okay.
2005, because if
Julia Roberts.
yeah, because I was gonna say if it was now, it'd probably be like Melissa McCarthy, but yeah, for back
Oh
then,
yeah, or Sandra Bullock.
For
Yeah,
back then,
Sandra
yeah.
Bullock, I think,
Mm.
back then.
yeah, Drew Barrymore, she'd be great.
Drew Barrymore would be great in it.
Yeah.
Nah, it'd get this film way too close to an Adam Sandler film.
That's true.
It's already teetering on the edge.
Yeah,
at times.
it's already got Vince Vaughn in it.
It'd need to. I think it'd need to be not a comedy. It'd need to be like a serious actress,
Yeah.
like a serious actor, and I can't name any of them.
Oh yeah, no. As soon as we're like, oh, I wonder which actor should. My mind goes.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock.
You know, two actors, and one of them is almost always Julia Roberts.
Yeah. We don't
Anne
remember names.
Hathaway?
Why do you ask us these questions,
I don't
Dan?
know.
Emily Blunt.
You
It
yeah.
was just an idea.
You always ask us these questions,
Yeah.
and well, famously do not remember names.
No. Anyway, so back to the film. So yeah, the
Yeah.
car chase scene really fucking good.
Slaps.
They
everything,
then,
everything after they discover that they're assassins.
yeah,
slaps.
it's so good. I love the final sort of showdown in the like sort of Home Depot kind of store as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the best. I'd totally forgotten that scene. I'd only remembered the middle bit where when they find out that they're both assassins.
Yeah.
The bit where they're trying to kill each other in their own home
Mm.
and end up having sex instead.
Yeah.
But this scene was amazing. I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, where they're like properly fighting together to go, and they're like ducking under bazookas and shit like that. It was
Because I know
Yeah.
this is obviously like a big budget film.
yeah.
Oh, so-
I
It's
just
so-
said
It's
yeah.
great
So
how
big
much money
budget.
they spent.
yeah.
So
Just trashing, and it's like we're not going to trash a mum and pop store. We're not going to trash a corner shop. We've already done a mansion.
Yeah,
Let's do a Costco.
I just checked
Yeah,
it. Its
it
budget
was
was 110 million,
so
but it
big
did
budget.
make like 450 million.
Yep, it was
Yeah.
also so big budget. It went 26 million over budget,
Oh no!
and some of the scenes were shot in the director's garage.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I don't know
Oh.
which scenes. Some of them
No.
were
Was it the ones in the garage?
probably. No, he had to build a set.
Yeah.
Like he had to build a set, so it was
Maybe
Yeah.
the therapist scenes.
maybe the therapist scene or the apartment, the B&B scene. Maybe the
Yeah.
interior for that.
Yeah.
But I do know that when they finished, he blew whatever set he built. He blew it up with a grenade.
Of course.
They must have had quite a few left
I
over.
always find
Action
it funny
movie
when these
directors.
like big producers or directors are like, "Oh yeah, we just had to build it in our garage," and we just imagine like some shitty little garage like
No,
we
no,
have. But they've
it's-
probably
he's
got
a
some
director.
like
It's huge.
yeah, it's probably bigger than all of our houses combined.
But it's
Like,
still
yeah.
like it's still funny that they had to build it themselves
Yeah.
because they went
Yeah,
over
I'm thinking.
budget.
Like, well, I wouldn't be able to film anything in my garage because there's no power in the locker. In my incredibly, you can just about fit a 3-door Fiat
Yeah,
in my garage,
I-
but only if you don't mind not being able to get out.
yeah. I think saying they have big garages so they need something to build. You'd be surprised how much filmmakers can do with a tiny space. Like they're some of the best problem solvers.
Yeah, but I mean, this is totally the other end, though. I mean, apart from I guess those bits,
it's very big budget action
Yeah, it's
explosion.
huge
big budget. Like everything explodes.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah,
Like the amount of people, like the whole SWAT teams. There's multiple helicopters.
yeah.
Um,
Big budget film.
but they trashed this entire shop, and it was just fantastic. It was like watching someone going like to one of those rage places where you just like smash it.
Yeah.
It felt really cathartic
Yeah,
to like watch them destroy this like quite nice looking shop. I guess they weren't allowed to use name brands. Maybe Costco were like, no, you can't call
Yeah.
it Costco, because it was like Costmart, which
yeah.
is just Costco
Yeah.
Walmart, and I'm like, okay.
yeah. You have
Big stretch.
You have to pay
And
for that.
homemade, which I think would be unfair to name a shop that. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, these are homemade soap from copyright. Cease and desist.
Yeah, you have to like pay for that stuff. Sure. Or
Yeah.
they can tell you to not. But
That's why they didn't. They'd run out of budget already.
Oh, we
Yeah.
can't afford Costco.
Yeah,
26
Can
million
someone go
over.
in and edit it to say cost mark?
that might have been the garage scene for all we know.
It's just a model, and we didn't realise.
You'd be surprised.
But this is the one. Isn't this the one where they met each other and fell in love?
I
Maybe.
thought that they were together just before this, and this is why they made the movie
This
with
is
those
their
two.
honeymoon.
Like, yeah, for some reason I thought they made the movie with these two because they were together at this point.
Probably.
Vince Vaughn's wife would have been Jennifer Aniston.
It would have been Jennifer Aniston. Cancelled. Thank you for that.
Oh.
100%.
Yeah, I keep on forgetting that she did lots of other films.
Yeah,
Maybe Cameron Diaz.
maybe. I'm more thinking that she'd.
Is that too? Is that not serious
I
enough?
don't know. She'd want to kill Brad Pitt though at this stage of the, of like, you know.
Yeah, this film. The one thing that really kind of got on my nerves about this film was a really film thing. Because don't worry, I hate myself as well. Was the color grading really kind of irked me because it's that dull action movie green that was like
It
Yeah.
is.
2000s.
Everything's really tinted.
Yeah. But then, in comparison to that, the music I thought was fantastic.
oh, music's
Like,
incredible.
Oh, guys, we forgot. This is This is why it stuck in my head. They weren't together, but they did get together.
Right,
Okay.
that makes sense.
In Mr. and Mrs. Smith during the filming.
That makes sense.
They denied they admit they fell in love during the filming.
Yeah.
Was it about halfway through?
Yeah. The difficult
Is it
thing,
when it got
and this
good?
might be why Vince Vaughn, Jennifer Aniston, interesting pick. They were married,
Yeah.
Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah, that's why I chose Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, okay.
Thing I wanted to mention about the color grading was that was a choice they made. That wasn't the technology available at the time. Color grading's always been pretty good. Just annoyed me that they were like, the whole thing is green. Because I'd have put, as a film thing, I'd have made everything that wasn't assassin, all of the home stuff brighter and like cheerier.
Yeah.
Then they made everything else like the dull
So it's a
green
lot
haze.
more drastic, yeah.
Yeah, just so you can make it look different.
But the home stuff wasn't pop color, happy go lucky. Like, if anything, the dull grey. Like, their house is grey. Their romance is grey. Their chemistry in the house is grey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
With a
just-
hint of green. If anything, like, they come to life, and the scenes that could be more vibrant are like when they're off doing the assassin jobs.
yeah, it just
Yeah, that'd be a better
Not
kind
Angelina
of,
Jolie
yeah.
in like that weird pink brothel
Yeah.
that she's in, and I guess the underground. Oh yeah, I really bothered me that she got like the sex appeal job
Yeah.
to assassin thing, like Honey Trap.
Yeah.
And he got the cool underground Irish bar
yeah.
murder. I was like, yeah, he gets the manly.
Would have been funny to see them do it the other way around, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Would've
mean,
been
I'd love to see that much pleather on Brad Pitt.
Same costumes as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
scene
yeah.
for scene,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just different. Yeah, and he's in a really heavily boned corset, and she's falling over, pretending to be drunk.
Yeah. That would have been, if they weren't cowards, that's what they would have done.
Yeah. Remake Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
But only change that one scene, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see them remaking this film.
Yeah.
Wait, after they divorced, Jennifer Aniston briefly dated Vince Vaughn.
Yeah. Huh?
Why?
I mean, yeah, why?
Like-
but also,
Like, he's
Yeah, a
definitely. I
sequel.
mean, they say that, you know, I'd say he's punching up, but fucking hell, that's a hell of an uppercut. Like,
yeah. Would you watch Mr. and Mrs. Vaughn?
no.
Out of 10, what would you guys give this film?
I really enjoyed watching it again. I had to watch it in sort of two chunks, which I think really cemented, like, the first half kind of dragged, and then the second half was like, yes, and like a bit of a race to the finish, and I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, it's not a perfect film, but I think the nostalgia definitely bumps it up to, like, I'm going to say 7.5
Yeah.
out of 10.
Yeah.
7.5 snippy naughties one-liners,
Yeah.
because there's probably 7.5, because one of them doesn't land.
Mm. I had to do the same thing, by the way. I had to stop watching this film and watch the second half later. I think I stopped it at the point where they were just before they started fighting in their house. I literally,
Oh,
I
okay.
stopped it at the change point. So when I came back today and watched the rest of it, I was like, this is a good film. I just watched it in the wrong order.
Yeah, it is. It is a bit. Yeah, there is a bit of whiplash there
Yeah.
with like. I don't know. I just wish that they could have chopped half an hour out of the first half.
Yeah,
they
easily.
could have
Quite
trimmed
easily.
it down. Yeah.
It feels very self-indulgent that this film's 2 hours long, and I think that might be why I wouldn't necessarily watch it again in a hurry.
No, I thought it was like,
And also, I'm looking back, impressed. Like, how long did it take me to watch that on film 4?
that's an afternoon job.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be there. Well, they probably couldn't show it until 9.
Yeah, that's a long
So-
film.
Oh, Watershed, I guess 8, 7. What? No boobs in this film.
No,
Not that much blood,
not that.
considering
like,
how much they get shot.
graphic
Like Brad
violence.
Pitt has like 2 very cute scratches.
Yeah, he
on
gets
his
get
leg.
shot like 12 times in a bulletproof vest. That bulletproof vest, after like 2 bullets, would stop absorbing shots.
Yeah,
That's how
no,
they work. They're not designed for like, they're bulletproof forever.
Yeah, they
and
take
they
a
do.
lot
They
of
have like
shots.
this weird sort of respite in the shed.
Yeah,
In the shed inside, I'd forgotten this. I'd forgotten how it ended, like entirely. So I thought that it was full of fertilizer and that they were going to make some sort of bomb or something.
that's a different
because
film.
they're surrounded by like all these bags of compost
Yeah,
in this shed, which I guess was like good for like tactical recovery
Mm.
because I guess they're basically they are going to absorb bullets.
I think you're thinking
Yeah.
of a different film because I remember that happening as well, but I don't think it was this film. I
Well,
like.
it definitely
well,
wasn't
no, it
this
wasn't
film.
this
We've all
film.
just watched
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it
But-
wasn't this.
Is that a TV show? That might have been a TV show that ended like that. Was it
Let us
Chuck?
know.
Yeah, tweet at Hilton Pod
Yeah.
if
Might have
you
been
know what
Chuck.
film ends with like fertilizer exploding.
Yeah, no, because I remember that. I think I'd give this film a 5.
Oh,
Like a good. Like the first half is far too long, and the second half isn't that interesting. Like it's an action film that's kind of heavy on the explosions but light on the action is kind of how I'd describe it.
I don't know. There's car chases. There's like fist fights.
But
There's
it's-
gun fights. There's 2 people in a like there's cars chasing cars. There's people chasing. There's cars
Yeah.
chasing people.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it might have been because the first half is so long and very little happens in it. Very little like action kind of happens in the first half that the second half was kind of it felt too quick, but that might have been because there was an entire film already happening. Like it felt rushed, so for me it was just like this isn't good action. This is just really quick and kind of annoying. And then yeah, I feel like if the first half had half an hour cut out and it was a normal film length.
I think you could take half an hour out
Yeah.
and not notice.
Yeah,
I feel like even like the whole elevator scenes and everything. Like I feel like you could cut from the awkward dinner where they're like slowly realizing. You could probably cut from that to the gunfight in the house,
Yeah, easily.
and it would still work.
I've forgotten everything that happened in between those 2 scenes. So
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly. That's when they have like the weird dance out in the restaurant, and they have like the elevator.
Oh
scene
yeah, he
and
puts a
stuff like
bomb in
that.
her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like so, I think that
can't-
you could
yeah.
probably trim that out.
Yeah, I can't think of what that adds to the film.
Yeah,
And the weird scene where she's holding a baby.
Fuck no, I love that film.
yeah, that was great.
I love that scene. I am
them trying
Angelina
to be
Jolie holding
normal.
that baby.
Yeah,
I am 100% Angelina Jolie if you handed me a baby. That's
know.
what I look like.
Like, do you want to hold this baby? No,
No.
please do not give that to
I've
me.
said that like outright to people before. Like, no. No, I don't. Which makes me a bad person, I know.
Well, I like holding babies.
Well, next
mean, as
time
long-
we're
yeah.
offered, we'll give them to you instead. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed this. Like I know the first half was like a little slow, but yeah, once it gets into that like ridiculous, over the top action comedy, like
I
I
like
just
that
had a great time.
our scoring is based
Yeah.
on just ignore the first half
Yeah.
of the film.
Ignore the bad
Well,
bits
like-
and give it a good
Ignore
score.
Not even
Yeah.
like ignoring it, because it does have a lot of good bits. I do like the bit where they're both in the desert trying to assassinate the same guy.
Yeah.
And it's like cool. She's like all tactical with these bombs ready, and he just shows up in a dune buggy with a bazooka. Like
Yeah.
just showing how different they are.
I also I like we haven't mentioned it. I like the scene where the intern, the bad guy that they're both trying to kill, is for some reason locked in a prison,
Yeah, he's in a prison for some.
He-
Like,
but he's not an actual prisoner.
No.
He's friends
just,
with them.
He just
Why
knows
is he in the
that
prison?
they're a couple for some reason. Anyway,
But why-
I think I'd give
Why is
this.
he locked up?
I think I'd give this 7 that prisoner wearing a Fight Club t-shirt out of 10.
Yeah.
Because who's in like,
How long after Fight Club did this come out?
Fight Club was 1999, so
while.
like 6 years.
Is it?
Yeah, 6
Okay.
years.
So,
Yeah.
but it's like
It's a
surely
reference.
he'd recognise Brad Pitt.
No, I like to think whenever that happens in a film, whenever a film references a different film with the actor in, the actor in the film is different.
Is different, yeah. It's
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn in this one.
It's Vince Vaughn,
Oh God.
Vince Vaughn in Fight Club.
Jennifer Aniston.
Well, I guess with that, I've been Dan.
I've been Michael.
I've been Helena.
And you can find this podcast on Twitter and Instagram at HiltonPod. That's at HILTM Pod. We're on Discord and Patreon as well. All the links should be in the show notes. Let us know which movie or TV show ends with people in a shed full of fertilizer that they blow up.
Yeah,
We would like
I
to know.
remember. Yeah.
Oh, also, if we're recasting this film, bad suggestion. Someone who auditioned, Gwen Stefani.
Oh no, fuck yeah, 100%.
Gwen Stefani and Angelina Jolie. Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Mrs. and
1000%.
Mrs. Smith. That'd be great.
I'd watch it.
Yeah.
Say that they are remaking Mr. and Mrs. Smith as a TV show. So
Ah.
How are they?
yeah, they're dead. Yeah,
I know that is ringing a bell, actually. I think I have heard
because I think it's
that
Donald
that is
Glover,
happening.
and it was Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Okay,
Whereas
if
I
Donald
think you have a
Glover's in it,
different show.
I am up for that. Hang on.
Yes, but then then it didn't happen.
Well, Phoebe Waller-Bridge's stepped down. She
Yeah.
creative differences, whatever that means. Yeah, so they are remaking it, apparently.
Yes, cool. Right, right, let's wrap this up then.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Have you done the You Can Find Us On?
Yeah, I did that bit.
Okay, I wasn't listening.